I'm like, why would first of all, who's doing this? There's a prank here. There's a rubber coiled up snake by the front door, like, you know, those fake snakes, you know, rubber coiled up snake. And as I'm like 10, 20 feet away and I'm walking towards them, I'm like, who would do this? This is my father-in-law, 15 feet away. I'm like, he's just going to put a snake out here 10 feet away. And I'm like, that's not his style. That's on his, I think I should slow down 5 feet away, and it moves and the rattle comes up. It's a real snake.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it's right at the precipice of the door.
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
I haven't never had my legs in the podcast before. This is crazy. I don't like it.
Pretty sure if you did the full screenshot of the last one, I'm gonna have toes in the podcast because I was barefoot that day.
Yeah, I always wear pants and nice shoes, but I had to come over from work today because I've been very busy, and I'm leaving again. Shocking.
Shocking.
Hey, so we're going to talk today. We've done an installment before where we talked about it was called "We're Idiots."
Yeah, like episode 6,
5 or 6, 6,
It was
episode 6. Yeah,
I said 5, and then you corrected it
the,
on screen.
boop,
it was actually 6.
Yeah, and the reason we know that I corrected that is because we literally just sat here and watched it on double speed because we realized we wanted to do another installment of these.
I don't like watching stuff on double speed.
Why?
Because the laughing is just like annoying. It is. Oh God! Imagine listening to that on double speed. Whoa! Yikers!
Everybody's going back and doing it. That's going to help our retention.
Great,
well
thanks.
done.
Thanks.
You know what you guys should do is
good at this job. I've been feeding the algorithm.
Now listen to it on slow speed. See how many times we can get this. We want to do another installment of that, and we quite literally forgot what we had. We started making a list.
we had a list, and then we're like, wait, I think I told that story because I wanted to tell the story about jumping off my parents' roof into the pool.
Yep.
And then you're like, I think we talked about that. So we watched it back, and you're absolutely right. Yeah, we talked about that. So I was like, well, how is this different than the We're Idiots one? And I think what I came to the conclusion was all the stories about We're Idiots, like, we were lucky to be alive afterwards.
Yeah, they're a little bit
they were
higher
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we go through our minds and our archives and catalog, all the times we were just like, what a moron I was. There's lots of those stories. So let's
dip back into that well because we didn't hit the bottom of it.
Because they're fun. Apparently. We have to remember that if you remember, we started that podcast by talking about the fact. So that was podcast number 6, and we were starting to already get some feedback that the podcasts were hitting pretty hard in a good way.
Yeah.
And we realized let's bring ourselves down to earth a little bit. And I think that it's
that's right. Because like the first 5 episodes, we had come off a little bit like know-it-alls, I guess.
Well, we were definitely not trying to.
Yeah.
But it was. We weren't trying to, but it was starting to come off like that, and it was like, let's dial it back a little bit. And enough time has gone by to where it's probably healthy to do that again. But also, there's just a lot of good stories to tell. So you kick us off here. Get us going with one of your classics.
Well, so I put this topic down for us because I was having a moment of just, you know, when you think back of stupid things you've done and you kind of feel like you regret for it and you wish you could correct it.
Oh yeah.
You know, I had one of those moments where I was sitting there and I was like, man, I did this stupid thing when I was a kid. I was probably, I don't know, 13 years old or so. I used to have this tradition to where at the end of every school year, as soon as the school year got out, you know, last day of school, bell rings, I didn't go home. I rode my bike straight to the card shop. And my thing was I wanted to buy, I would buy a whole box of like basketball cards for a certain series or whatever. And so I had this summer where school just got out and I got my box of cards and I went home, and it was usually like half days. So I'd have to spend the rest of the afternoon opening the packs of cards and cataloging them all. And my goal was always to get the full set. I was always hoping that I'd get the box and the box would get me the whole set of cards, every single card in the series. Well, I hit the jackpot this one time, and it was like, you know, 1993 or 2 or somewhere in there, right? So the Olympics had just passed, the Barcelona Olympics, the first time we had professional basketball players in the Olympics. They called them the Dream Team. And so this card set had the Dream Team, but in order to get the entire team, it was like a panoramic of them. So it was actually 3 different cards it took to make up the entire team. And it was the dream team. I mean, these were like the greats, you know, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, you name it. It was like the best of the best at the time. And they were on this team. And now I had all 3 cards. And I made up the whole set. And this was like really hard to get the whole set. And so I was pretty happy with that. Well, about halfway through that summer, I was getting bored. Me and my friends, we wanted to go to the arcade, you know, and you know, just find something to do, go to the arcade. And I found out I didn't have any money. And I was like, oh, I really want to go to the arcade, but I don't have any money.
Oh, the FOMO started early.
So I made the most intelligent decision at the time was to, hey, those basketball cards that we were lucky to get, let's take them to the card shop, see how much money we can get for them. I bet they're worth something. So I take the cards to the card shop, and I think I get like 20 bucks out of the cards. But 20 bucks at the time, I was like, that'll get me a good hour at the arcade. You know, that's sweet. I made the deal. Yeah, I was like 13 or whatever. Here I am, what, 30 years later, sitting on the couch, reminiscing about those cards, thinking, what an idiot. Like, I cannot believe I sold those cards for 20 bucks. And I want them back. Like I really liked those cards. I was really proud of getting those cards. So I got on eBay.
Oh boy.
A few weeks ago.
Taking care of the FOMO.
I got on eBay and I looked it up. And to my surprise, they were like 125 bucks. I thought in my mind, I thought they were going to be like 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks.
I thought they were going to be way
And
up
part
there.
of me was like, I don't think I can do that. 125 bucks. Guess what? I pulled the trigger. Check this out.
You got him.
I've got him.
He got him.
Here it is. So, and it actually says like, so here's a 3 card set. They're in like really good protective case. And you could actually see it like says Barcelona behind them on the screen. And it's every single player that was on that 1992 Barcelona Dream Team for USA. And I have them again. I got them back. Only cost me $105 more to get.
Well, I'm with you though, dude. I am very, very shocked that it was so reasonable.
Yeah.
I was expecting. Yeah, that's. Barkley.
I was expecting them to be more, but since they were reasonable, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna undo this wrong 30 years later, and who knows? I'm gonna hold on to them, and maybe 30 years from now they'll be worth $250. You know, we'll see.
Look at Barkley, dude. Barkley, Larry Bird. They look like kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because like now, you know, now we see these guys maybe doing the commentary on TV and stuff, and they look totally different. But
wow, well, I'm glad you got them back.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
am.
Me too. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Put them on display somewhere or something. But it just feels good to right that wrong. But I suppose,
what if these are the exact cards?
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy if somehow the 3 cards I traded in that shop that day, somehow, you know, maybe that shop owner retired a few years ago and decided, you know, to take his stock and just put it on eBay and sell it off one by one until, you know, they're all gone or something. And I somehow got my cards back. Who knows? I mean, they're really good shape. They're like, I was checking the corners, acting like I was one of those people that know how to grade cards.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah, that corner looks sharp.
Yeah.
That's a grade A or something. I don't know.
Looking through your little
I don't know.
monocle thing, and they're like, sir, that's a bottle cap.
Anyway, I'm happy to have them back, but I suppose not all of our dumb decisions that we made back in the day are reversible like this one was. I mean, it did cost me financially, not terribly,
but not terribly at all. I am shocked.
I am curious now, like, what would my limit have been? You know, that night when I was having that FOMO or that night I was having that regret. You know, what if I had gone to eBay and it was $500? Would I have pulled the trigger?
Yes, you would have. Yeah,
you think so?
Yep. I think I know what your number is. I mean, you have to be honest though. You think of your number, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is. Don't say it out loud.
I think I got my number.
Okay. I think you're thinking 1,200, but I think the number is 1,500.
Nope. I was gonna say anything under 1,000.
Okay.
I think for some reason that 4th digit would have been just enough for me to
that would have been the
like,
one.
yeah, this is a little frivolous, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it would have had to been under 1,000.
Okay.
So 999, I would have pulled the trigger.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I have just a slew of stories. Now, after we did that first installment of We're Idiots, it was like driving home from the studio. I'm like, I have all these other ideas, and now I feel grateful I get to
Then we get it. Oh, then we get round 2 at it, basically.
So when I was younger, here's the thing. You ever you ever have one of those moments where there's something divine happening to where you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, and it just is like fate just works it out to punish you or whatever, right? You're like, I knew I shouldn't have been doing that, right? And I was a young kid, and a bunch of my buddies were trying to break a street light in the street. And when you're young, the street lights are way high up, right? And it was a really high street light. And they were throwing rocks at it, and they're like, help us do this. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And because I'm not a destructive person, and I know if I do that, I'm going to feel bad, right? And so they're throwing rocks. It's very hard to do. It's a really small target, very high up in the air, and we're just kids.
You're talking like fist-sized rocks at least, right? Because you can't just throw little rocks.
No, well, not that. I mean, I would say smaller than a fist. I'd say they were. I would say probably a quarter size of a fist.
River rock,
like a river rock, but a small one, right? Like a good skipping rock, if you will. And they're throwing rock after rock, and I'm just hanging out, and they're like, come on, help us try to hit this. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And they're just like, just throw one. I'm like, you guys don't seem to understand the way the world works, okay? If I throw one, it'll break it. And they're like, you think you're that good? And I'm all, I actually don't. I'm like, I just know how this works. If I throw one, I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to break it. And they're like, no way, man. And they're like, just throw one. And they were so annoying that I was finally after an hour, I grabbed one rock and I just chucked it, just right, like a sniper, dude, hits it square, just shatters it. And I felt instant regret, right? They're cracking up, dude. They're like, no way, And I'm just like, I knew it. And there's glass everywhere. And now I'm just that jerk. I was a reckless kid and stuff, but it was never at somebody else's expense. That was not my gig, And I felt really bad. Now it's a city thing. It's not like a person had to go pay for this or whatever, but it's vandalism. That's what that is. Call it what it is. And I felt really, really bad. And I was really mad at my friends, and they're just dying laughing. They're like, I can't believe you broke that, They had thrown like a 50 rocks each. They couldn't touch it. I threw one, shattered it. All right, so there I go. So there, I did it. And about a week later, the light still works because all I did was break the outside cover. The light still works, and like that little circuit's in there. And now they're trying to hit the circuit. No. But not with a rock. Now they're doing it with like this Nerf football. And they're just like going over and over and over and over again. And the light had come on because it was like it was turning into nighttime, which it was long enough ago. That meant it was time to go home. Yep. Well, I was home. That was right outside of my house. And they're throwing it, and it's the same bunch of dudes. And you know what? I'm just going to tell you. One of them was Drew. Okay.
Of course.
Yes. And Drew's doing it, and they're like, Skizz, try to hit this with the football. I'm like, are you guys new? You saw what happened last time. They're like, yeah, we saw what happened. It's obviously never going to happen again. Like it is ridiculous that it happened the way it did. We're just trying to hit it with a football, and it's a football. What you're nuts? Like, just try to hit the light. It's not going to break anything. You know what I mean? It was a Nerf football. And they're going on and on the same story. And I don't know why I gave in. I'm like, give me the ball. And I chuck it, perfect spiral, hit the center, thing goes out. I totally no, it's like straight up broke the light. Doesn't work. It's a light that no longer works. And
so you guys got to stay out later then.
We got to stay out later. Yeah, because
the
it never came on.
Come home when the light turns on.
But it was funny because as soon as I did that, Drew starts cracking up, and he points at me and he covers his mouth. He's like, Jinx, Jinx, Jinx. Like, you're so Jinx. There's no way that just happened. But I felt, it was like, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny to me at the time. I felt, I felt bad. And and it was so funny because it sounds like, no, I'm too good. I don't tell me to do it. I'm going to hit it. It wasn't that. It was, no. I will be punished if I do that. And I'm going to feel regret. And here I am decades later. I still feel bad for breaking it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about like destroying property when you didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Like you didn't think you were going to. Well, no. I guess you did. You said, I know how my luck is, but
it's cynical in nature.
Yeah. You didn't think so. Yeah. I mean, I have a story too where I had that maybe same type of feeling where I thought I was doing something. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I was on like a thing with my dad was working and he worked out of state. And so I went with him to work one week during the summer, just because summers were boring, and it was like, I was probably acted up, and my mom's just like, go with your dad to work for a week, and so I go with my dad to work, and And it was over the weekend or something, or it was overnight, like everybody had left, and I was thirsty. And in the office, there was like a vending machine, but I didn't have any money. And I didn't have any basketball cards to sell. So I decided, you know what? I'm small enough, you know, I was still little. I'm small enough. I think I know how vending machines work. When you buy something, the thing falls down and it comes out this little chute. What if I reach in this chute and like reach up and grab the can from inside the vending machine? I thought, well, I'm going to try, but there's no way. There's absolutely no way that I'm going to reach a can or whatever. I reach up in there. Sure enough, I grabbed a can. I got a hold of a I don't know what, if it was Pepsi or I don't know what. I didn't care. I was just thirsty. I get a hold of a can and I start to yank. And I'm like, if I just yank hard enough, I'm going to get this can out of there. And I was right. I got the can out, but not in one piece. I ripped the can open inside the vending machine, and soda went everywhere. Like, this vending machine was now a mess, and it was my fault. I obviously couldn't drink any of the soda. It was on the ground just inside the vending machine. Fingers. Yeah, like I'm just a sticky mess now from all the syrup and the soda. And look, I mean, my dad wasn't around or anything at that moment, and I'm like, I'm gonna just walk away from this and hope nobody calls me on it. So here I am thinking, okay, well, I might be able to get away with this. Nope. Next morning, somebody came in the office to open up, and they're like, what the heck happened to this vending machine? And they realized that, like, me and my dad were probably the only ones there, you know, the night before or whatever, and asked my dad about it, I think, and I had to come clean. And I was like, oh, and my dad's just like, why don't you just ask me for 25 cents? Because I'm sure that's all it was back then. Yeah. I'd give you a quarter for a freaking soda. You'd have to break the vending machine, you know? It's like, oh, man, so stupid.
Dude, you never told me that story. That's fantastic.
I was embarrassed, man. Like, I thought I could get that soda out, rip the thing open. I'm actually surprised. Like, if you think about it, like, ripping a can open is pretty dangerous. Like, that aluminum in the can could have just, like, cut.
Oh,
could have cut my hand off.
I can't believe you were that thirsty to where you ripped a can in half.
Yeah.
That's a very strong, you know, I guess so.
Must have been a drummer already. Had those strong forearms, you know.
So in the other podcast we did about this, I told the story of when I climbed that electrical tower. That and the type that I'm talking about is they're big, giant. It's in the desert, big metal pyramids that come together very, very gradually until they eventually get close enough to where then they just go shoot straight up. I told the story about me climbing that, but what I didn't tell was. There was those are power towers, right? So you got lines in between them. Well, those lines are so taut that those towers are kind of holding each other up, right? Like if you were to like slice a bunch of lines, I think they would all just come toppling down, if I'm not mistaken. So my buddies and I used to be in the desert, and we would throw rocks at those, and there's no harm in it, but it's really cool because if you happen to hit one, it makes this incredible like pew sound. Like it's just like kind of a cool thing, you know? So if you remember those wires, those power lines, they were like stacked, right? They would be like the lowest one was super high up and then the other ones were way high. And they were really far apart from each other. And the only two that I remember that were close enough to like close together relatively were the bottom two, super high up. Well, I found a hanger out in the desert, and I says to my buddy, I said, hey, and I bend it into a V. I said, what do you think the odds are of me chucking this up there and specifically landing on the second to bottom one? Because it's the only one where I could get it to touch two at the same time. He's like 1 billion to 1. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, you remember the light story I just told you?
No.
Dude, those two, it comes up and just perfectly. And I'm all, oh no. Like I was legitimately, this was like, I didn't have any apprehension because to me it was that impossible that I could pull this off, dude. And it just goes, and it goes on that, just like that, dude. I'm all, oh, and as soon as it does it, it goes, and it just starts freaking out. Sparks are shooting everywhere.
Entire city loses its power grid.
Dude,
Oh my gosh. I was probably like last level of Blaster Master, about to beat the game. Not again! Skizz!
You just know it's me. Bro, it hooks and it just starts doing that. You can hear it, you can see it, and it just finally did it enough to where it like shot itself off. And dude, I'm just like, run! And we just ran, man. God, maybe I wasn't, man. I just stopped saying I was a good kid because maybe I wasn't.
Yeah, these stories, they keep coming out, you know?
It's no good.
No, I had a destruction of property that it wasn't malicious in any way. It was just mistakes, you know? Just and I think it was, I don't think I had my driver's license yet. I think I was maybe just getting my learning, you know, learner's permit, or maybe not even that. And my dad had his brother's car. So his brother bought a 1972 Stingray convertible Corvette. It was like a super nice car.
What color?
It was blue.
Okay, I just want to get it right.
Yeah, it was blue. And it was a really, really nice car. And he had driven it out, or my dad had come and picked it up because my uncle lived in Texas. So they brought it here because I think he thought maybe he could get more out of it if he sold it here or something. I'm not really sure. Or maybe my dad just liked selling cars and he knew that. And so he's set, had my dad do it. Anyway, my dad was storing this car for him. And I think somebody might have like come by to look at the car or something. And my dad's like, why don't you pull the car back in the garage? And I was like, okay, you know. And I was super nervous because I wasn't like a seasoned driver. And this is a 1972 Corvette, you know, like, and my uncle's tried to sell it. And so I'm like, even if it was my parents, I would probably be a little less nervous, but it wasn't even my parents. So I was like, okay, I'll pull the car in, you know. And I start to pull the car in, and I misjudge how long the front of the car is, like from the driver's seat to the very front tip of the car. It's like a mile long on those cars. I swear to God. And so like I completely misjudged how long it was. And I basically drove my uncle's 1972 Corvette into my parents' house, like into the wall.
Whoa.
That was the garage wall into the house. It didn't break all the way through the wall, but it dented the wall and dented the car quite a bit. And I felt terrible. Like, I felt so bad. Like, how did I screw this up?
Yeah.
Like pulling a car into a garage, you know, knowing the circumstances. Like I was nervous to do it. So you think I would have gone extra cautious, and instead I still end up hitting the wall. And I'm like, could
you not, were you too little to like see?
I think I was just so short. I couldn't like see. I wasn't sitting up high enough to see all the way to the front, to the tip of the car, to see how close it was to the wall. Either that, or I just, you know, wasn't used to like hitting the gas barely and having it go 80 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It might have just been one of those cars.
Oh, was it a
that
boom?
just like gasses like real hard quickly, you know? I don't know, you know? I don't know exactly what happened, but I know I hit the wall, and I know I felt like crap, and I know my dad he went so easy on me. Like, he had every right to get mad, and now he has to tell his brother, you know, sorry, my son messed up your car that we were trying to sell for you.
Oh.
You know, he could have been livid about it, but he was like, he was totally cool.
No, I disagree. I'm calling rubbish that the reason your dad was not mad is because you didn't do anything wrong. That wasn't stupid. He told you to do it. Not that it was a stupid decision to do it, but I mean, it could be argued that chances are when you hit it, he was probably like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially a car like that. Those cars are weird, man. But I can understand why you feel stupid.
Oh God. Yeah, I just felt really bad. Like if it was my dad's, I still would have felt bad. But the fact that it was my dad's brother's car made me feel like 10 times worse about it. And I hope it didn't give me any kind of like FOMO about driving after that. You know, it might have taken me a little bit of time to get over.
You mean like not FOMO,
not FOMO, like
PTSD?
Yeah, like kind of PTSD,
like apprehension to get behind the wheel again. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I'll tell you. Here's a car story. Let's let's see. Back in the old days, I swear I thought I've told this story some on maybe
About
another
driving
podcast.
your car into the fence at the,
No,
dirt field. You did.
no.
We watched that.
Wait, not that one.
Well, I wouldn't mind telling that story again because it was awesome.
No, that was you got.
Sorry, yeah, you got to go back to episode 6. Let's get that one back.
Yeah,
off
you'll
the
enjoy
ground.
that one. Forgive us for the quality. We've stepped up the cameras since then. No. My back when I was in a rock band, there were 4 of us. There were 4 of us in this rock band, and we were having a practice. And there was this 5th guy he was sort of our roadie, if you will. And he was helpful. He actually was really helpful. This guy, I think I told you, I was at a concert and I smashed one of my crashes so hard it fell and it never hit the ground. Then I'm not making this up, dude.
I say his name. I know. I bet I know his name.
What is it?
Ed.
You got it.
I nailed it.
Yeah.
I remember that guy.
That's right. Ed.
I worked with him.
Yeah, he was.
So I know exactly the
nuts.
character of it that he had.
Yeah, I hit that, and the crash started falling down, and it just never hit the ground. He caught it and set it up. He was amazing. Anyways, he went to go grab us lunch, right? He was also a character. Like, you could never really believe all of his stories. You know, he was allegedly in the mafia at 13, whatever.
Yeah,
so I love the guy, I do, but it was like he told a lot of stories. Well, he goes to get us lunch. He disappears, and we're waiting and we're practicing a little bit, and he comes back and he has our lunch, and he looks a little kind of disheveled, and we're like, what's going on? He's all, I just got hit by a car. We're like, what does that mean? He's like, I got hit by a car. I'm like, somebody hit your car? He's like, no, they hit me, my body. And I'm like, what? He's like, but the lunch is fine. I'm like, what is happening right now? So he kind of explains the story, and he tells it a little bit. And now he was just got out of his car. He's walking through the parking lot, and somebody hit him. I don't know how serious it was. All I know is that it was instantly funny to me because he was fine, and we got to make a skit out of it. So I tell my buddy Cameron, who's my guitarist, I'm like, let's go make a bit out of this. And so I narrate over it, and this is VHS, dude. And my buddy Matt was the cameraman, and what I was going to do was I was going to pretend that I was Ed and be all goofy and skipping along, and then I'm going to have Cameron hit me with my own car, right?
God.
So this
professional stunt man.
Yeah,
huh?
so this is a really good idea in my eyes.
Terrible.
And but I tell myself, here's the deal though. I'm like, you don't need to actually, you're not going to drive and smash me. Just get behind me, and then I'll roll up on the hood, and I'll just do like it'll be easy. You know what I mean? I really thought being a gymnast allotted me a lot of tickets I didn't deserve. And so I am now a certified stuntman because I say I am. So all I need you to do is come up behind me and I'll roll up. Just give the car, I'm talking about a minuscule amount of gas. And as soon as I can sense its presence, I'll roll up on the hood. It'll be a joke. We're making a joke. We're retelling what just happened to Ed. All right. So we're filming all the different scenes and everything. And now it's time for the big moment. Well, maybe what I should have mentioned to Cameron is that the gas pedal sticks.
Oh,
and,
no.
Yeah. And so, because I always drove just garbage cars. So he's coming up behind me, and I'm getting ready. And and I told him, Cameron did nothing wrong, dude. I told him what to do. Give it a little bit more gas. And so we went to give it a little more gas, but it was resisting his foot until it wasn't. So boom. So now I got hit by a car that day. And I remember because I was like, okay, the car's behind me. And my brain's like, I think it's about, like, that's as far as my brain went. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm upside down. Like, it was crazy the force of it was really shocking, to be honest, because it wasn't like he was going 50, but he probably went from going 2 miles an hour to like 10 miles an hour like this. And so when it hit me, I remember being like, those are my feet. I can see the sky and I can see my feet. Like, I remember, like, this all went through my head. And then in that moment, I'm like, I'm upside down right now. Like, he really got me good, and I'm upside down. And I'm like, I'm looking at the clouds, and there's my shoe. And I'm like, okay, so now let's just complete the ensemble here. I don't know if I did a full flip or whatever, but I came off the side and I hit the ground, like hit the pavement. And I remember as I hit the ground, that tire went in front of my face by about an inch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember that too. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm alive. And, you know, Cameron, he does his job. He drives through, he slams on the brakes and comes running back. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, that's on me. I should have told you the gas pedal sticks. He feels terrible. But I'm like, but hey, dude, silver lining. We have the shot of the century. And we go to Matt, and Matt's all, I think I shook the camera off, dude.
What?
Yeah, he was the worst. He missed the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, dude. He like what had happened was we had somebody yelling, no, next to the camera. Ed was the one yelling it. And he said it so loud and so jarring, it scared Matt. He went like this with the camera. He put the camera up in the air. Nowhere in this, the car is nowhere in the shot, but at the very bottom of the frame is my foot. You can only see
Oh my gosh.
So it didn't work out.
Dang it.
And so I almost died for nothing.
You guys could have been, that could have been on the feed in every single pub in America. You know how like the like pubs have the whatever they call it.
I can't remember either.
It's usually like all these idiot stories.
Yeah, it's like called like pickle basket or it's I don't know what it's called, but it's called it's something.
Yeah.
It's pick. What is it?
I don't know. They just play a bunch of clips of people doing stupid stuff, like getting hit by cars.
That would have been one of them.
Or like thinking they can like jump over a car.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Again, don't like do this stuff, you guys.
Yeah, so much for that. Like we started like, oh, the difference this time is going to be we're talking about stuff that's not going to kill you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go, and then you go with that one. Oh man.
I have another one. Like, you go.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
So my eye is itchy. So. This is what happens when it's the middle of the day. I'm already slap happy.
See, yeah, usually we record our podcast
really early
like
in the morning.
In the morning, like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And today well, and usually on a weekend, usually Saturdays.
On a weekend. It's usually not me coming right from work and yesterday
life's
was
getting crazy again, and we're gonna have to do another one of those had a crazy week podcast next time.
Yeah. So here's another one. I can't believe I'm going twice, but here's another one. So I am going to be very responsible about this one by not giving people any ingredients. What I am going to say is that as reckless as me and the drummers were back in the day, we did a lot of crazy things. We actually, some of us were actually pretty sharp, right? Like, so we knew things, if you will. And we were at one of their houses one time, and he's like, dude, we're going to make a firebomb. I'm all, that sounds dangerous. He's like, no, it's going to be controlled. And he's like, and he tells me the ingredients. I will not say the ingredients online right now, obviously, but he gives me the ingredients, and he happens to have all of those ingredients. Okay. That's what I'm going to say. So we go in the backyard, and he puts the ingredients into a bottle, like a beer bottle. And we kind of like wedge the bottle into the ground a little bit. And he puts the first ingredient in. It's a mixture of something else. And then he goes and he puts the final. He's like, all right, everybody step back. And he goes, it takes a second to react. And he puts the second ingredient in. And we step back. And I'm going to move the microphone away from my mouth a little bit. But what I saw and witnessed next was just unreal. It was it was neon orange flame about 12 feet high. And it looked like a picture of a flame because it was so static. So all it was straight, was like for like a good 6 to 7 seconds, dude.
Wow.
And we were just like, oh my God. It was like the coolest thing in the world. And then the flame went away and it was fine, right? Well, before that happened, there was like a little bit of this smoke or whatever. And he's like, that smoke's real dangerous, man. But just wait till there it goes. And it reacts, and it was neat. So that was cool. Well, about a month later, we were bored again, and we decided to do it again. And we were going to go out into the desert to do it this time. So we brought all the ingredients, but we didn't get the mixture right.
Oh, no.
And what we didn't know was if you don't get the mixture right, you're not going to not only not get the desired result of that beautiful flame, which to this day, I'll tell you, it was gorgeous. It was really crazy the way it was. It was like a booster on a shuttle, dude. It was crazy. But you're going to get no flame. You're going to only get the smoke, and you're going to get a lot of it, right? So we did everybody stand back, and a little smoke. We're like, okay, that's okay. A little bit of smoke, that's all right. And that's a lot of smoke. And now it's starting to get like force, but it's not like happening.
Yeah.
It got enough force to knock itself over.
Oh, geez.
And so now the smoke is just going everywhere, and we can't like see. And I remember like, I don't know who it was, but somebody was taking their last like breath in that moment, and just to get the sentence out, do not breathe it, right? Because all of a sudden we were consumed by it. Like we didn't know which way to run. We couldn't see, we were consumed in it. And I remember one of my buddies went down, not because of the smoke or whatever, because it was such chaos. He went down. I remember grabbing his arm and just like pulling him and getting him to his feet. And I remember everybody's just like trying to pick a direction and run. while not breathing and not being able to see in the desert where there's rocks and cactus and stuff. And we were all able to clear enough and be okay. But that was something that took a while to be funny. I'll tell you that. Like nobody found that funny at any point in that night because we were like, well, first of all, what did we do wrong? We're smarter than this. And then second of all, we just did this, and so we're not smarter than that. You know what I mean? Like we're idiots. But it was a crazy moment because I remember I did breathe a little bit of it, and I remember just being like, "That's really bad what we just breathed in."
Yeah.
I'll show you it later.
So much about
we'll do it later.
Not killing yourselves.
We'll do it on a podcast.
You know, when you said drumline, I immediately thought back to a story that I think you used to tell a lot about the was it a gumball or a marble that they would set on the snare drum and hit with a stick? Was it a gumball or a marble?
I think it was a gumball.
Was it a gumball?
Or a
gobstopper? Like a hard gobstopper. It had to have been a gobstopper.
Which is a really, really rock hard candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you idiots would...
I remember when you unlocked a memory, dude. You unlocked a memory. Okay. Can I tell it?
Yes, you go again.
Well, you should tell it.
No, go again.
I'll tell it.
It's your story.
So if you can picture... I can't get over how funny this story is.
I can't believe this wasn't on your list already.
Bro, you unlocked a memory. I haven't thought about this in so long.
This is how bad my memory is so bad at remembering my own stupid stuff. I remember your stupid stuff as if they were my memories.
So, first of all, do you know who the person was?
I think so.
Okay. So,
yes.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah, because they were my year.
They
right?
were your year.
Yeah.
Was it male or female?
It was male.
Okay, so you know who I'm trying to remember who. Okay,
the victim.
Yes,
we're talking about. Yes.
Okay. No, I didn't want to say it because okay, here we go. So, so if you take this, so here's the deal: a snare head, a proper marching snare head is made of Kevlar, and it is when you tighten it down, it's not a normal concert snare, right? Concert snares are, in comparison, very, very loose, and concert snares.
Yeah, like you can press your thumb into it and it will dent
like
down.
a little bit, but I mean just a little bit. You can move a concert snare with your thumb. Like if you push right down the center, you can go maybe a half inch, and you're kind of jacking with the integrity of the skin. But you can do that, right? On a marching snare, it's like concrete. You want to try to move with your thumb, it's never going to happen.
Right.
It is super hard. That's what a marching snare is. Okay. Well, we'd put a gobstopper on it, and then we would do what's called a shot. Now, a shot is where you hit the skin, hit the Kevlar with the tip of the stick, and you hit the rim with the meat of the stick at the exact same time. And in case you're wondering, like, is there some luck involved? It's not. I don't know how to explain it other than when you're a very experienced drummer, you can do that. They're called shots. It's written in the music. So when you do a shot, it sounds very different. It's like you can hear the tick, 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 and when you hit it, it's like, gah! It's like super loud. And we write them into the music by the sound of you put an X on where the note would be. We got very good at it. We could do double shots like it's nothing. Mm-hmm. Well, if you put a gobstopper on and then you did that thing would shoot in the air like, oh my God, high. Like it would skyrocket. Maybe it was a marble. I don't know. Whatever it was something as hard as a marble. Gobstopper, marble, I don't know. It would go sky high, right? Boom! And he would just be like, look at it go! Right? It was the best thing ever. Let's do it. Do more. And then the section leader at the time, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't me who did it, right? It wasn't me. Was it my junior year or my senior year?
Started with a K.
So was he around when you were there?
No, this was the year before I joined.
Okay, so I told you this story. That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the section leader, his name was Keith, and he was like just having the best time doing this. And he was just like, oh, I want to do more. And then one of the freshman snare players, who I want to say Jay, is that who it was?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to say Jay.
By the way, my sister ran into this person a few weeks ago and sent me a picture of him and said, hey, do you remember him from? And I was like, yeah, I was on drumline with him. Like, of course I remember him.
So we're doing it over and over. And now Keith grabs Jesse's drum. I'm just going to say it.
I don't know why we're being cryptic.
I don't know either because there's nothing digital back then. People can't look this stuff. Like it would be impossible. So he grabs Jesse's. He's like, Jesse's like, don't use my drum. He's like, get over here, because we were really abusive and stuff. He's like, just, and he,
It's just like that was no big deal, you know, because like we were really abusive and stuff, you know, like
well,
yeah.
he's like, I mean, I don't know. Do I want to
Get over here?
I mean, do I say what he said and then bleep it out, or do
No.
we gloss over it because it was pretty
No,
harsh?
but just the way you like nonchalantly were just like, yeah, we were super abusive to this freshman.
Wait,
like-
I wasn't.
like-
well, I mean, listen, you're making it
That's
weird.
it. I'm gonna call Jesse up. We're gonna have a conversation,
Hey,
and I'm gonna see
listen.
if he still has some like issues.
No,
you know?
nobody got a tenth of the abuse I got when I was a freshman, and anybody who was part of the people abusing me would attest to that. Nobody.
We don't
took-
condone.
We don't.
this
we
behavior,
don't.
by
We
the
do
way,
not
just
condone
so-
this. I'm just telling a story from
It's
decades
just
ago.
the way it was back then.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he grabs him and he's like, he says a lot of choice words to him to stop being such a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, just stand still. We're doing this, you know? And so he's like, stands there. He's like, just use my drum then. Okay, just get it over with. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And Keith puts the gobstopper on there. Whack! And we're...
It's not funny. It's hilarious.
so he whack! We look up in the air.
Where'd it
Where
go?
is it? We're looking like, anybody see it? We look at Jesse's covering his mouth like, ooh. Hit it right and lift it.
There's so many people right now that are like, wow, Skizz is actually a monster. The fact that you're finding so much joy in Jesse's pain, though.
You don't understand. First of all, Jesse sucked. So let's Jesse, you're a good kid.
No, he's a good guy now.
He was a good
He's a
kid.
good guy now, but he
was a good guy then too.
he was a bit out of his element back then.
He was out of his element. He was always late. He never showed up to our competitions. Pissed me off. But he was a good guy then, and I'm sure he was like.
Yeah.
So I will tell you this right now. It was. Well, it wasn't. Well, it was a little funny right away. But we were cut from a different cloth back then. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean? And so when it happened, like it was the idea that was like, whack! Where is it? Where is
Everybody
it?
looks up.
We look at Jesse. He's like, this, the eyes are tearing up. We're like, oh, are you all right, dude? He moves his hand. It's just like swollen blood. We're like, like it was bad. He got
bleeding?
Oh yeah, dude. It was.
What about
I'm
his
sure
teeth? Were his teeth intact?
yeah, that was just
'Cause
good. That would have been bad.
That'd have been bad.
But it was that actually tells me it was most definitely a gobstopper because that doesn't have the mass to.
Marble would have
a
taken
marble
out
would
his
have done.
teeth.
Yeah, but it split his lip, I believe, a little bit. But in terms of the instant swelling, it was like wow, dude.
Jeez.
And you know, and Keith was like, he felt, as you can imagine, he's like, I'm so sorry. Like he did feel bad. He's like, dude, you have to know I was not trying to do that. You know, he's like, I'm so sorry because we've been doing it for a while and that never happened. Why did it go right into your face, you know? And if actually knowing Keith, he's probably like, why were you leaning over it? You know what I mean? But it was like, but dude, I couldn't. Okay, I really lost my cool there, but I just relived how funny that whole thing was.
Kept thinking, like the whole time you're laughing about this guy getting his lips split, then people must have been like, wow.
Dude, but it was different, man. Like it was, I don't know
It
how
was
that was
okay to abuse freshmen back then.
No, it was not. No,
No.
it wasn't. But it was more like it didn't matter who it happened to. It could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, and keep in mind that abuse wasn't one direction. It wasn't just at freshmen. They typically got the brunt of it. I know firsthand or whatever. And I never did. You saw that. I was equally abusive to everybody. But like when we had other drummers who they would, like one of them went to use a porta potty and he was an upperclassman and the other upperclassman came over and knocked it over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was on the bus. I watched him go in the porta potty and I'm all idiot. Cause I was like, I was like, I have to piss so bad. I'm not going to. I know this crew.
Jeez.
And I see them all come running and knock it over. And I'm like, oh, they got him. And then it actually fell over on like a bunch of bushes and then they stood it back up. But he was
Luckily,
very mad.
and so it didn't get all over him.
Well, I think he said it, I don't know if it got on his feet or whatever, but it never laid all the way down.
Okay.
It went into some bushes, so it was
gross.
diagonal.
Okay, new subject.
Yeah. So
Well, let's stick with band though, because band days were great. Do you remember there was a tradition, the last practice of the season, the drum line would do what they called the underwear run through.
Yep.
So we literally stripped down to our boxers. I
Yep.
think we did make a pact that we would all at least wear boxers.
Yep.
Right. And maybe the females on the line would wear like sports bras or something that was.
Well, when I was section leader, I told the girls, you don't do anything.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I don't remember if they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had out the underwear run through where we would take our clothes off and do our last, like, the whole show run through basically in our boxers. For some, I don't know why. It was tradition. You know, you don't question traditions.
Yeah.
You know, it's been doing
also
this for years. There must be a good reason behind it.
Well, so keep in mind, it's 6 in the morning and it's freezing out.
Yeah.
That's what made it more
So
like
that's fun.
miserable. Yeah. So that's fun.
So I don't know if it was the year. I don't think it was the year you were there. I think you had graduated already, and we were doing the underwear run through. And we all took our clothes off and put them on the sidelines or whatever, and we did our run through. And we're like, okay, let's put our clothes back on. And we walk over to the sideline where we had left our clothes. They were gone.
Yep.
They were gone. Were you there that year?
That happened my year.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were gone. Okay, they were gone. So we're like, great. And I think it was the flag line,
Yep.
color guard, right? And so we're like, what the heck? Where's our clothes? And they're like giggling.
Yeah.
Oh, we took them into the band room. Yeah, the band room was across the campus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And
so
what's happening on campus at that time?
school's starting
Everybody is
school's
walking
letting
on
in.
campus,
School's
yeah.
letting in. So every bus has just arrived at the school, and kids are flooding into the school.
Yep.
As we have to walk from the football fields on one side of the campus to the band room on the complete opposite side of the campus in our boxers. And every single kid in the school is looking at us like, why are you guys naked? Like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fun. Okay, so that was my sophomore year then, if you remember that.
Oh,
happening.
yeah, I remember.
So after that, we still carried on the tradition, but we kept our clothes with us.
Yeah, smart.
On our drums.
Yeah.
Like kind of tucked in between the harness and the drum. We kept our clothes on us so that the color guard couldn't steal them again.
God, I can't believe they did that. I remember that too. I remember and I had very little shame back then. So I remember being like when I saw my clothes were missing, I was freezing. I wanted my clothes back on. And then I see everybody coming on the campus and I'm like, all right, we're going to walk. I'm not going down the main aisle. We're going to go to the right, see how many people we can avoid. Because like you said, we have a long walk back. And I'm sure you and I were walking together in our boxers. And I felt like, I have no shame and I don't have anything to be. I actually had a really good body back then. So I'm like, I'm fine with this. I just am freezing. I want to get back home.
No, you're like looking left and right. What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
What's up?
Yeah, you see something you like?
Flexing.
Yeah.
Flexing. We're just going to go over there. We got to go over there and get our clothes back.
Just go to my boxers. God. But you know what? We took that sideway where there would not be a lot of people. There was still a good amount of people.
Still way too many people.
There's people who
and
are just
every
like, what?
single one of them gave us a look.
They're like, what is happening? Why are all these guys in their underwear? Yeah. God.
Can I join band? No, I don't think a single one of them had that thought.
Well, if they even knew what happened earlier in that practice, I don't know. We don't need to tell that story.
Oh, those were fun days though. But yeah, that was. Oh man, I remember we've probably told this story about you tearing into the parking lot.
Oh my
We've
God.
had to have told this story on the
think
podcast
so.
before because our practice was across the campus. You didn't like making that walk on most days. So and you were old enough.
The leadership podcast.
Yeah, that's right. You were old enough to drive, so you would drive your car over, and every time I would ask for a ride, you'd be like, "Nope, you walk."
Yeah, you carry your drum, you walk, and be there before me.
Yeah. But you made it hard to get there before you because you tore your car around the entire side or whatever out to the street and then back in the parking lot, and then you tear in the parking lot and basically spin into your spot, and every time it would squeal out and your car would actually
it was good.
Go sideways.
I was good at
into
it.
the spot, and every time you'd stick your head out the window like a glove because you're really into
Ace Ventura, man,
at the
all
time.
day long.
Like a glove, and we're all just standing there like, God, this guy.
So here's a story of when my buddy Cameron and Cameron comes up in a lot of these stories because I've just known him forever, right? We used to ride our bikes, and I wonder if I told the story during the injury podcast. I really don't know, but we love to go to construction sites and make jumps because nothing says sturdy jump like some random 2x4s and an occasional plank of plywood.
Well, at least they had the 2x4s.
What do you mean?
At construction sites. I mean, where else?
Because
Because
that's where they were at,
You're
right?
not gonna bring your own.
Yeah. Well, you need to. I mean, maybe make a proper jump would have been wise, but we didn't. We just find any sort of board that could withstand a bike, and then we would find something to ramp it up, and we would make some really decent jumps. Right now, in our eyes, they were big. If we jumped our bike and we got like 1.5 feet to 2 feet in the air, we felt like we were in orbit. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we built this jump, and it was one of the most aggressive ones we had ever made. And I was like, let's do this, man. And, you know, we don't need to measure twice or anything. Let's just stack it up there and let's go. I'm going, you're right behind me, man. So we're going, I'm going to hit this thing hard. And he's like 10 feet behind me going the same speed. And I hit this thing. And as I hit it, the jump itself crumbles just a little bit during like 1 2x4 kind of like got spit out or something to that effect. Well, because it kind of dropped the ground up from underneath me, as I went into the air, my hands came away from the handlebars. I was just like, boom. And I'm like, oh, I'm not even holding on to the bike. And I'm already losing control. And so my brain's like, well, you have about 1/10 of a second to make a decision here. Can you get back on the bike? Nope, that's off the table. So let's do what we can to move the bike out of the way, because you're going to hit the ground pretty hard. You don't want to land on this bike, right? So I like do one of those as quick as I can, but I don't get my hands back in time to protect my face. And my face, and remember those construction sites, it's Arizona soil, so it's like volcanic rock.
Yeah.
It's like rock and nails and dirt and just awful stuff. And my face just slam right into the just a face plant, boom, right into the ground, dude. And I thought the worst was over, but it wasn't, because Cameron, he just hit the same jump, a little lesser version of it, and he landed on my head. Oh. And so what happened was I went up in the air, and actually he says what happened was that his left pedal that had his left foot is what hit the back of my head. And so I did the jump, and I'm like, bah, bah, like twice.
Oh my gosh.
2 in a row. Boom, boom. Like it was like somebody was hitting me in the face with a dirty bat.
And Matt wasn't there to record this one? Dang it.
If he was, he would have been filming a cactus. Yeah.
Man, imagine how many clips you could have had on this. You could have made money selling those clips to that channel that runs in the pubs.
But you know, when that happened, I remember, like, you know, that face, that feeling of getting hit in the face, and like it's this weird adrenaline. And I was too old to be crying about it, so I wasn't crying. I was like, this hurts a lot. And I remember spitting. And when I spit, it was like 50% dirt, 50% blood. And it was the craziest thing in the world, dude. Like, I spit all this dirt and blood onto the ground, and I was like, that's badass. I remember thinking that, like it was the weirdest thing in the world, dude. I was such a mess. It hurt so bad, but it was like kind of cool. And I remember I got home, and my brother's like, what happened to you? So I told him what happened, and you know, whatever, you get cleaned up and you're good to go. But that was an example of kind of being an idiot, because you're going to make a ramp, take a second and make it kind of sturdy. And if you're not going to, don't have your buddy 10 feet behind you at the same velocity. You know, it was just like so crazy, man.
So episode 6, we told all these stories about near-death experiences because we're stupid.
Yeah.
And I thought you got them all out.
No, well, that's not your dad.
These are, oh, come on.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh, my face got stomped into the ground. Yeah, no. Yeah, totally fine.
I didn't get knocked out or anything, so I wasn't. That's
the barometer.
It would have been maybe nice had I got knocked out. You know what I mean? But it wasn't. It was not hard enough to do that, and it wasn't my chin. Right, the chin's going to do it. But you get hit in the nose and the face. It's all padding, and so it's like, yeah.
Ouch.
I remember I knew a buddy of mine who was like not a fighter, not a bad guy, but he knew what he was doing. And I'm not a fighter. I'm just never been. It's not my gig, you know? And I remember asking him, like, he's like, I don't like fighting. You know, he's like, it's not my thing. So I just I take him out right away, you know, like knock him out. I'm like, what? You can just do that? Now, he was a strong guy. I'm like, what do you do? You punch him in the nose as hard as you can? He's like, no. He's like, you punch somebody, you punch a guy in the nose as hard as you can, you are now fighting twice the man. He's like, don't ever do that. He's like, it's always the chin, which is what they call the button. And, but that's what I'm saying. I think maybe if I'd hit my chin, maybe a different story, but instead it was just nothing but pain, you know?
Oh my gosh.
God.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn the dial a little bit, okay? All right. We're going to turn the dial on these topics.
It's neat.
Because when I made my list, I kept it pretty like just weird, you know.
I got some safe. Well, let me look at my
safer.
list.
You got safer ones. All right, I'll jump in. I'm gonna real flip the switch here.
I'll tell them.
Because when I was thinking about like stupid things, I was just like looking back and being like, I can't believe I did that. What a dummy. Like, what was I doing? And one thing that came to mind was, so my wife and I, we used to really like the show American Idol, like probably in its earlier years, you know, first couple seasons or whatever. We were into the show, you know, like we were getting invested in some of the singers and stuff. And I think there was one that like we really liked. I think it might have been Chris Daughtry. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember that name.
Yeah. I remember that we really liked him and we wanted him to win, and he wasn't getting the votes he deserved for some reason in our minds, you know what I mean? And so I was like, screw this. We're gonna help him out, okay?
Oh,
and I'm, you know me, I'm Mr. Tech guy. I'm like, I got an idea. And so I found this program that could run on a computer, and the computer has to have a modem so it can hook to a phone line. So I got like a laptop or whatever that had a phone line modem in it, and I connected it to our landline, because we actually had a landline back then. And I ran the program, and basically you tell the program what number to call, and you could have it like punch in certain digits and blah, blah, blah. So the show would, you know, open up line, you know, the lines are now open for voting, you know, and I would get the number off the screen and I'd go punch it into the program and I'd call it, you know, and make sure, okay, you just voted for Chris Daughtry. And then I was like, okay, good, got it. And then I'd run the program and it would just call over and over and over and over
So
again
there was a specific number
own.
that if you called that number, it would vote?
Then it just counted as a vote. Every time it answered and you typed in whatever number it was for that contestant, it's like, thank you for voting. You voted for Chris Daughtry.
Oh my goodness.
And it would hang up. And then the program knew to just run over and over again. And I let it run like, I think they accepted voting for like 12 hours or something after the competition or something. So I would let it just run like all night long to try to like see
You're the worst.
vote. Yeah, it didn't work. Chris Daughtry didn't win.
Even with that?
even with my technology.
You know what? I bet you was disqualified because they had the intelligence to realize that some jerk out there was running this program.
Somehow you got 100,000 votes from this same phone number.
Yeah, you were on track to win, but you're DQ'd now.
I'm so sorry, Chris. I'm glad you still made some cool music afterwards.
I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
That's so
like
awful.
Why? How did I get so invested in something like that I wanted to like cheat the system?
You're robbing other people of their dreams.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, actually, it wasn't too long after that you remember Howard Stern.
I do.
DJ. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, he decided to pull some crap that kind of ruined the show a little bit.
What did he do? This sounds familiar.
He put a campaign out because I don't know if he was also upset with the way the voting worked or something, but for some reason he put a campaign out on his show or whatever to vote for the worst.
Yes.
He encouraged all of America to vote for the worst person to kind of like ruin the show.
All
basically.
of his trained SEALs just smacked the flippers along. And
so that year I think Taylor Hicks won, and he definitely did not deserve to win. Sorry, Taylor.
Taylor Hicks. I don't remember that.
It was this like it was this dude that like was in his late 20s, but looked like he was 40 something, and it was kind of like a more country style, I think, if I remember.
Interesting.
Right. Anyway, he was not that. Maybe it was a different season. Anyway, I don't know, but basically, yeah, that season it was just a mess. Yeah, because everybody was calling in to do what Howard said, which was vote for the worst. And so, yeah, it was. Anyway.
I vaguely remember that.
So I wasn't as bad as Howard Stern, at least. I just used a program to call to auto dial.
Yeah, but you would have if you had that influence. Yeah. You just would have told him to vote for your fella.
Yeah. Every stream, you know. Hey guys, if you're watching American Idol, make sure you vote for Chris Daughtry because he's definitely he deserves to win. Anyway, I think that show's still around. We don't watch it anymore though.
Well, what was the slightly off topic here, but I don't know if it was America's Got Talent or if it was American Idol, where the one dude did the beatbox into John Bon Jovi's.
Blake
Sheldon.
Lewis.
Blake Sheldon.
Blake Lewis was his name. That was American Idol.
Blake Lewis. Yeah,
that was good.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good.
He was so good, and he did like he was a great singer. and he did beatbox. He mixed his singing with beatboxing, and he redid You Give Love a Bad Name by John Bon Jovi, to the point to where even Bon Jovi, who was like one of the coaches, if you will, was like, I think he's kind of rolling the dice on this one, but he ended up crushing it. And here's the thing. I encourage everybody to go look it up. You're going to be very poor quality because that's just, it was a long time ago.
I want to watch it now.
I know, it was so good.
Blake Lewis is going to be like, what the heck? My YouTube video just...
Like, yeah, it just blew up for some reason. It went from 450 views to 28,000, like Jimmy Jiggles.
Jimmy's 600 subscribers special.
700
subscribers special. You guys went and watched it.
You did it. You took care of it.
And YouTube did its thing.
I love it.
They put it on recommended for everybody. Now it's got 28,000
views as of yesterday. I mean, that is just great. So anyway,
I love it.
So Blake Lewis,
you guys are the best.
If you watch that, pardon me, look this up, watch the video, and just enjoy it. I mean, he just does such a great job. But here's the thing. As much as I really, really liked Blake Lewis, next to him was a stand-up drummer who was just drumming with just like a hi-hat and a snare, and maybe there was a high tom. I don't remember.
I thought it was just like a high tom, low tom, and like
maybe it was a very, very limited stand-up drum set. And he is awesome. That drummer is awesome, to the point it was like he doesn't have a lot to work with there, and he's really not. It's not a drumming show. He's there to supplement what's going on. So there's a kind of a
call and answer type thing, right?
There's a call and answer they did between beatboxing and drumming, and there's sort of an unspoken rule as a drummer when you're like in a band and stuff, is that we're constantly trying to find this balance of you're a supporting instrument. That's what drums are. You're a supporting instrument. Your singer is your front man. That is who everybody should be looking at. That's who everybody should be enjoying. If there's a guitar solo, it's okay for the audience to shift their attention there. If there's a drum solo, same thing. Bass solo, all the same thing. But for the most part, the bass, the guitarist, the drummer, they are supporting the singer. And in this particular instance, it's the drummer, just one drummer, who's supporting Blake Lewis. Well, drummers are always trying to find this balance of being able to explore their craft and not overshadow their welcome, right? It's a fine dance. It's hard to do. And as a rock drummer, I think I did okay, but there were times when I would like listen back. I'm like, I think I need to dial back that. There was no need for me to have that busy of a fill on this moment where it's really not drum intensive. Like you have to find it. Well, this drummer found a way to do nothing but slay, and it was perfect balance. It was pure slay, pure balance. And so when they're trading fours, going back and what call and answer, like you're saying, it is just, his drumming is sick. And it's like to the point to where I remember like I like interpreted his second fill, and I remember like I'm having a hard time writing the notes down. Because they're so off the beat and so awesome that I can't, like I'm struggling to comprehend what he's doing right now because it's that cool. You know what I mean? So look it up, everybody.
Music theory behind that.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Been a while since I watched that. Now I want to check that out.
So I think I may have told this story before. This is a really idiot story. I mean, this is cream of the crop.
Do you get hurt in it? Does anybody get hurt in it?
Nobody gets hurt.
Okay. Whew. Okay. We turned the knob.
Nobody gets hurt. He does not like it when people get hurt in my stories. Jesse took that to the lip.
Oh, come on, dude.
So I'm pretty sure I've told the story somewhere on a podcast. I don't know, maybe not. But when my daughter was very little, we would go over to my in-laws' house every other week or something, go have a hangout and dinner. I don't know. She was super little to where it was still, I would take her out of like the car seat and I would carry her in. It was just normal. That was what we did. That was our routine. Take her out of the car seat, put her in my arms, and carry her up to the door. And we walk in and set her down and let her kind of, run around and do her thing. Well, one day, forgive me for how wrong I just got that part. It's the exact opposite. That's so weird that my brain just did that. It was this routine. I would pull her out of the car seat. I'd put her point her at the house, and she would run up to the door. Right. That's what the everyday was. Okay. The story is about the time that I did carry her up. So, my in-laws live in the desert and, near a desert, if you will. So same story. Put her on there she goes. Okay. Another week, put her on, and she runs up. Put her on. But this one day, I took her out of the car seat and I was like, I just want to carry her this time. I'm not going to do the thing where I set her down. I'm just going to carry her. So I'm walking up to the door and I remember this, dude, like it was absolutely yesterday. I'm like, why would first of all, who's doing this? There's a prank here. There's a rubber coiled up snake by the front door, like, you know, those fake snakes, you know, rubber coiled up snake. And as I'm like 10, 20 feet away and I'm walking towards them, I'm like, who would do this? This is my father-in-law, 15 feet away. I'm like, he's just going to put a snake out here 10 feet away. And I'm like, that's not his style. That's on his, I think I should slow down 5 feet away, and it moves and the rattle comes up. It's a real snake.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it's right at the precipice of the door. That's exactly where she just runs. There's not a chance she was not going to get stuck by it.
Oh.
And I'm like, whoa. And the rattle starts going, the head stands up a little bit, and I got my daughter and I back up. And I just go running backwards, and I take my daughter and I give her to my wife, and I'm like, there's a rattlesnake by the door. And so I turn around and go running back, and my wife's like, what are you going to do? I wasn't going to go neutralize the threat. I wanted to play with it because I'm a crazy person. So I went up, and I knew that like I was confident that they can't strike more than twice their distance. In fact, I believe a snake can only strike half its distance, right? I don't know. I think I'm like, as long as I stay more than half the length of what the snake looks like to me, I should be safe. So I go up, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And this rattle's going nuts, and the rattle's there for a reason. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh baby. And so I get up and I start doing this with my hands, you know, and the snake is just like, you can see it's getting agitated. And my wife's just like, would you stop it? And I can't help it. Something clicks in my head, and I have to play, you know, I'd like to fly close to the sun. And so I'm like doing this, you know, and I'm like, oh, knowing full well that if I get close enough, and if it makes a decision to strike, I'm going to get stuck by this rattlesnake, because the option of me being faster than the snake, not on the table. I know all these things. I don't think for a second if it strikes, I can dodge it. I don't know what's going through my head. I never thought, if it strikes, I got this. I was like, more like, how close can I get to it striking without it striking? And then my sister-in-law, who's inside the house on the other side of the glass, is smacking on the glass, screaming, get away from it, you know? And then she goes to my wife, could you get your stupid husband away from that snake? She's like, there's nothing I can do when he's like this. And I'm like, oh, woo, woo. I'm just like, I couldn't stop. And then I just finally got bored, because I was, I don't want to say smart enough, but some realm of smart enough to not get any closer. And so I just stopped, and then animal control came out and just, you know, did one of their stick things and took it away.
Jeez.
There you go. So that's very stupid.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, I
you did go back to, you almost died.
But nobody got hurt. That's
Dude, if it bit you, you could have died. Like, what is wrong with you? Jeez.
Don't do what I do.
Can you just robo-dial some freaking stupid telephone contest? I mean, come on.
That's wrong. You got any more dumb stories, dummy?
I'm done.
Yes, you do.
I'm done. That's it.
You got
tapped. I probably do. Well, if I think of any between now and episode 187.
What's 92 minus 6?
Did I just crush that?
Let's see if 86.
No.
86 more episodes would be 86 plus.
We're at like 94. No, where are we at now? We're like
94. 83 plus 96 plus 80. What's I say? 86 plus 94 is some kind of number.
Yeah.
That's 180.
I was pretty close then.
What did you say?
182? Did I say 182? Or 184 maybe? Somewhere there.
I might be wrong.
I was pretty close.
That's incredible.
I was pretty close.
All right, episode 184. We'll do another
We'll make
installment.
Idiots Part 3 or whatever. I don't even know what we're calling this one. It wasn't.
I think we call it We're Still Idiots.
In my mind, it was like doing stupid stuff, you know? Like,
yeah.
But
well, I mean, that was stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then the same things apply. Don't do what I'm saying.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how many stories you have, because
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
This all started because I sold my basketball cards. Like
that. No, you could. That's dangerous. You could have gotten a paper cut.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. This is I'm telling you right now. Like, as reckless and ridiculous as my stories are, I could tell you much worse ones that aren't me. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I'm pretty bad, but I'm not the worst.
And also, you have a list of ones that you can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, but of other people. And some of me.
Yeah.
Mostly of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
All right. Don't do the dumb stuff.
Don't do the dumb.
Don't do it.
Isn't that how we said to the other one?
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure you guys learn from our mistakes.
Sometimes we got to just like chill out and just tell some funny stories because it's fun. And that's
getting your reaction as you re-unlocked that memory of Jesse getting hit by the gobstopper.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that memory coming back into existence. Like it was, bro. It was like in a little like wood box that I was like cleaning out the attic, and I'm like, "What's this box?" You blow the dust off, and I'm like, and I pull out the picture. I'm all, "Oh, I forgot about." You know what I mean? That's what that was, and I feel like. There's a lot of people out there that probably think I'm a bit of a monster for laughing as hard as I did, and I don't have a good. He's fine.
He was fine.
He's fine.
He was fine.
And he really was a good dude
and stuff.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
But I feel most sorry for your wife because at 3 a.m. when you can't fall back asleep and you think about this all over again, you're gonna bust up laughing out loud and wake her up.
Bro, you don't understand the idea of everybody just like. Huh? And then we're like, where is it? And then looking down at him, he's like,
yeah, it's happening. Oh, sorry,
right.
Mrs. Skizz, for your being woken up at 3 a.m.
Did you get his contact info?
I probably could get in touch if we wanted to.
Tell him to send a picture of his lip. I want to see if the bruising went away.
Gosh, no.
30 years
All right,
later.
time to wrap this one up.
All right, that's it. You guys are awesome. Don't do the dumb stuff.
Bye-bye.
Bye.